Hello, I believe I am live. So, hello everyone. Welcome to today's live. As always, don't get your hopes up. This is going to be nothing special. So, I have my detailed notes, which is this. Okay, so the first thing is, can you hear me? If someone could say yes, even though it says 0 people are watching. So, this is when you know you're famous, isn't it? Okay, no, I have got a comment. So, Panna, hi, it works. Oh, thank God. 2 people watching as well. Fantastic. Thanks. So, and we've got Mabel here. Hello. Yes. Perfect. Excellent. So, just to tell people, I am running a competition. I'm not sure if you've heard. You simply need to ask a question and then you go on my list, which is here. You can't really see this. I've got people that have already asked questions here. And then you get a number. And then I will choose a number with my random number generator at the end, and the winner will win my Black Friday offer, which is my jungle listening course, my no study British English vocabulary masterclass course, and 500 family podcasts. These 3 courses, which normally sell for 197, 197, 197, so £600, I am selling for £147 until tomorrow. And then, yes, if you are the lucky person, then you win. Okay, so we have a competition. So I have some more comments. So actually 6 watching. I can see 8 now. This is what fame feels like, isn't it? And so Isabel, yes. Okay, good. And Vinny, hi there. Perfect. So I suppose we can begin with the questions I have already been asked, but feel free to throw a question in there. Remember, simply by asking a question, you have a chance of winning the fantastic prize. I think it's fantastic. Anyway, so here are some questions that I saw earlier. So I loved this question from Agatha. Hello, Martin. How are you today? Always fantastic. Thanks. An important question that many students forgot to ask me when I was working in a school and actually saw real people instead of a computer screen. So, yes, fine. Thanks. So, the next question is these are questions I got from Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all over the place, by the way, email as well. So this one's from Mischa. Says you've mentioned someone you asked. So I just copied and pasted these questions, by the way, from wherever I got them. You asked someone for joining your podcast in 2017, answering your email in 2023. Who was it? I can reveal this because I mentioned it on the podcast. That was Anna from English Like a Native. We actually spoke about it on the podcast. It wasn't that long ago. It was about a month ago, I suppose. So, yes, it was Anna. Just to tell you. Okay, so I'll just switch between the ones we have and the ones that are here. So, Barbara, so hello from Poland. By the way, to be in with a chance of winning the prize, you need to ask a question, just to tell you. So, Eduardo, hello there. Hello. And so, Flash, I want to be a lucky person. You need to ask a question. That is not a question, but nice to see you, Flash. And Panna says, well, if I won this one, it would be the best Santa Claus ever. Oh, yeah. And this, so Andres, hi, Mart. Hello. And so Marcella, hi, Martin. And guys, hello. Oh, lots of friendly faces from the Rock and Roll English family. Some lovely people that I speak to regularly in the Rock and Roll English family. Hi, Odsker. Nice to see you. And hi, Fran. Nice to see you. Is that a new picture you've got there of a car? Okay, so Barbara. Okay, so I'm putting you on my list now, Barbara, because this is a question. Okay, I need a pen that works. Okay, you know what? I also was going to record this audio to put this in the podcast. So let me just do that. As always, I'm not prepared. Okay, that's recording now. So, Barbara, what is your Spotify Wrapped this year if you use it Of course. Yeah, I use Spotify. I did share something about that, and they were like generally children's lullabies. So helping children go to sleep. They're the songs that I have listened to the most. So Eduardo, okay, you are in, Eduardo. You have a new background. Where's your flag? Upstairs in my office, which is also my bedroom, and my son is sleeping there, so can't use it today. So I just kind of blurred. This is the living room. You can probably see lots of shit behind me. And so, Ola, hello everybody. Hello, Ola. Nice to see you. So let's go back to these other questions. Okay, so this was from Nonni. So sometimes Instagram names were a bit strange, so I just took a piece of them. Okay, so how do I pronounce the sound in English? I sometimes confuse it with the sound. Now you confuse those because they have the same mouth movement. Okay, because remember, sounds in the jungle listening course, for example, I don't teach sounds, I teach movements because it's simply a movement. Like if you play the guitar, you hold it in a specific way and you make a specific movement, the instrument will make a specific sound. If you put your mouth and your tongue in a specific position, it will make a specific sound. So it's the movement. And these two have exactly the same movement, which is this. So front teeth on the bottom lip, and then basically blow. So you will be able to hear this on the mic. So if I do that's the sound, like fish. Now for the here's a test for everyone. Okay, strangle yourselves like this, and I want you to make this sound for me. Ah. Okay. Now, probably, in fact, not probably, definitely, you will feel a vibration here. Ah. Okay. Now, if you do that again and you do it really quietly and you do this, there's no vibration. Okay. So that's your voice switching it on and off. So the only difference between the sound like fish and the sound like vet is that you have to switch on your voice. Think of it like a switch. So that it's simply. So if you hold your neck there, you should just be able to feel no vibration for the, and then vibration for the. And that is the difference between them. This is obviously something I teach on my jungle listening course as well. The movements, we start with the movements to make the sounds, and then you use those sounds later in the course where you transcribe fast spoken English. Anyway, what else do we have here? Any other questions? So, Andrea, hi, Martin. Hope you're fantastic this evening. Always fantastic. Eduardo, how many viewers do you expect? Could you make a wild guess? I've just noticed 20. That's quite a lot. Normally 20, 25, and then people get bored and then it goes down to like 17. So yeah, this is fame, isn't it? So Andre, sorry, I asked you about it some time ago, but maybe something has changed now. When Sir Dan the Man be back on the podcast? So let me just write your name, by the way. And good question. I keep trying to convince him. Whenever I speak to him, not that long ago, we played football golf together. I was hoping to convince him, but for the moment, he doesn't want to come back. But I feel he will come back one day inside of me. I hope. Okay. So let's go another one here. So Marcella, let me put your name on there. So Marcella. Okay, Martin, what is the difference between dig into, delve into, and dive into? I mean, not the literal meaning, dig into the ground, dive into water, but more when speaking about a certain topic. Okay. You've caught me a bit off guard there, I must admit. Very similar. I'm just trying to think if I can see any differences. So dig into makes me think of a kind of thing like something's wrong, so you want to dig into it a bit just to see what's going into it. what's going on. Dive into makes me think like course, something you're excited about, and delve into, I would say, something you're curious about. So that would be my definition. Probably won't find that in a dictionary anytime soon. But as a native English speaker, that is how I think of those terms differently. You may find different terms on the Oxford Dictionary, but that is how I believe it. So, so you're actually already on the list. So, if you could wake up tomorrow in a place of your dreams, where would it be? Places I've been to. I went to an island in Thailand where the film The Beach was filmed, and that was brilliant. I would love to wake up there tomorrow, instead of probably children jumping on me at 6 o'clock in the morning, but whatever. So Otsuke, okay, you're on the list. What could be one's chances to win one of your courses? How many winners will be? Okay, so that is a good question, because I was going to do 2 for the people that entered before and the people that entered this evening. I'm not doing that anymore because it's really confusing. I've already got my list and it's confusing. Now, the chances at the moment are 1 in 21, because I have 21 people on my list. So, well, more people go on the list and your chances will go down, I suppose. So pretty good odds, because that's what I mentioned, that I'm not particularly famous. So it's not going to be millions of people here. So you do have a chance of winning. So, Mabel, when you teach pronunciation, it's hard to imagine you're the same person talk about poo in the podcast. The thing I like to think, is I bring some of that to serious things, because obviously in the podcast I have a laugh and talk about stupid things, but in my courses I bring some of that into the courses. And in fact, this is people's feedback, this is not just me talking. People often say, how you explain it in such a funny way. So that's what I would say. Okay. So Andrew, is he on my list? Okay, yep. Let's put him on. So I'm gonna write Scotland there. Okay. Do you discuss idioms and vocabulary to be used with a guest before the podcast recording, or is it totally spontaneous? Totally 100% spontaneous. Never discuss idioms or vocabulary. I don't even tell them the topic, because I like them to be prepared, usually anyway. And so, Eduardo, do you listen to other people's podcasts? Which ones? I generally listen to podcasts about football, to be honest. And I listen to like the Totally Football Show. I listen to ones about Manchester United, Gary Neville, lots of boring stuff, unless you like Premier League football like I do. And one about 90s football called Quickly Kevin, Will He Score? And yeah, that's about it, really. So Flash, okay, I've got a question. So Flash, okay, this is my wonderful question. Can you name 10 Pokemon? Absolutely not. I couldn't even name one. Pokemon came out, I was already a bit old for that, so cannot, I'm afraid. My first question, how is the general perception about not using phrasal verbs? I saw this question, Vinny. Sorry, I need to go back to the other questions in a minute. Does it sound too formal, too dated, unnatural? So yeah, if you don't use phrasal verbs, first of all, it depends on the context here. So if you're using English as a lingua franca with English pronunciation, as in like you're Dutch and you're talking to a Spanish person, then obviously it doesn't matter. But if you live in the UK, for example, and you don't use phrasal verbs, it can sometimes sound unnatural. Yes. For example, when I was in Italy, I often heard people use the verb host. So instead of like I'm staying at my friend's, people would say like my friend is hosting me. In English, you might say my friend is putting me up for example. So yeah, it can sound unnatural. And again, this is the benefit of learning through listening, because then you just repeat them naturally. Because if you really try and study phrasal verbs, then I've had so many people, because phrasal verbs are so specific to context, and this is the problem. So, for example, give up means like stop smoking. But so then people think, right, okay, give up is stop. So like I'm driving the car, I need to stop. I can be more intelligent and use the phrasal verb. So I will say, I will give up in the car, and that doesn't make sense. So that's what happens when you just try and learn the meaning. But when you learn them just through listening, and then you just find you repeat them naturally. So that's my advice. So learn through listening. And also in my no study vocabulary course, I repeat the vocabulary so often that it becomes natural. That's the whole point behind the course. So you don't actually need to study it. Just like we do normally. For example, my daughter, this literally today, it was in Italian. She said something really colloquial. For any Italian people, she said, she was eating the food and her mum was there and the food was a bit hot. So she said to her mum, like, can you give it una bella soffiatina, like a nice little blow? But so she's just got that from listening. Okay, so that's why learning through listening is number one. Okay. So okay, let's go to Panna. So this question I saw on the thing as well. How comes you never seem to run out of ideas? Yeah, because it's, if you just talk about random things, there's always something to talk about, isn't it? And now with different people on the podcast, if you talk about the same thing with someone else, it's a totally different conversation, isn't it? So, but yeah, I am often stuck a little bit for ideas though. So yes, that is true. So Andrea, so where is your new mic? Upstairs in my office. I didn't want to move it downstairs because I think that's what breaks the mics when I move them around. This is an old one. And I keep moving them like upstairs, downstairs to Sicily when I go there, and they get broken. So I've decided that is staying there now because it's an expensive one. So Eduardo, do you miss Sicily? Absolutely. What do you miss the most besides the weather? The beach, and I would say the food. Yeah. So Vinny, what TV shows would you recommend to hear good up-to-date vocabulary? Okay, I've just got a notification the football has started. I don't watch much TV, to be honest, but I would say generally anything really. If you're watching something that has been made in the last 10 years, then I think you'll be fine. So Fran, you're on the list now. Do you have an episode with clarification, Charlie, in the pipeline? Lovely vocabulary there. We haven't heard from her in a long time. Not at the moment. She's very difficult to get hold of because she, like me, has 2 children and she has a full-time job, and it's not easy to find a free hour for her. So yeah. So Ola, okay, Ola, you're on the list. Okay, so how often do you use ChatGPT creating podcasts or working on your courses? Podcasts pretty much never. Although sometimes I can get lists now. When I do my 5 minutes research, I sometimes will get a list from there of like, tell me 10 things that annoy you, for example, and then we might talk about annoying things. So every now and again on courses, I'm using it now on the vocabulary course because I write stories with the vocabulary, and I often put all of the vocabulary, maybe 10 pieces of vocabulary, I put that into ChatGPT. ChatGPT writes a story. It's normally absolutely terrible, but it gives me an idea, something to start from, and then I take it. So yeah, not that much, I would say. Okay, so let's go back to the previous questions that we had. So I would like to win your course, the No Study British English Vocabulary Masterclass. So my question is, have you already prepared all the 52 pods about vocabulary. So there are more than 52 pods. There are 52 weeks of pods, and there are 3 pods a week. So how many is that? 52 times 100. So 52 times 3 would be 156. So there are 156 pods. And no, I haven't made all of them because it is dripped content, which means when you buy the course, you start on day 0, and then on day 0 you receive the introduction. On day 1 you receive the first official podcast, and then 2 days after that you receive another, and 2 days after that you receive another. So you receive 3 in a week. Then 3 days after that you receive another, and it works like this. So the first is the presentation. Now I have done that in the past, but I'm making new content again because they have all been taken from previous episodes. So the content is presented in context. Sorry, the vocabulary is presented in context in the week on the first day. Let's use Monday to Friday on Monday. Then on Wednesday, I use all of the vocabulary again, and I use personal stories, so different context. And then on Friday, there is all of the vocabulary in a story. So that's the week. And then the next week, we'll have the new vocabulary, but also use the old weeks. Okay, so I'm just building it. I'm on like week 5 at the moment, but obviously it wasn't necessary for me to create all of it immediately. So that is how it works. And remember, that is in my Black Friday offer, which, because that course also sells for $197 alone, you can get that course and my jungle listening course and 500 podcasts all for $147. Okay, so it is a bloody good deal. Let me just read this one, another one that was here before. So no, that was the one I just done. So hi Martin, I would kindly like to ask you how to understand the Indian accent better. I'd be grateful if you could give me some advice. Thank you. So Esther, maybe. So first of all, if the reason you have difficulty understanding the Indian accent is because of the music of the language, because when you hear an Indian speaker speak English, or I'm not sure what specific language they speak in India, so apologies for that. But what they do, and what everyone does, not just Indian people, is take the music and sounds from their language and then apply that to English. Okay, and that's why it sounds really strange. So that's why you need to learn the sounds of English and the music of English. And once you can do that, then you'll be much easier to understand. Where can you do that? Jungle listening, of course. So how can you understand it? I mean, it is difficult if someone's got a thick accent and comes from India. Even English people do have difficulty with that. And another reason that is because when people from India speak, they don't, when I talk about the music of English, for example, something everyone will know, fish and chips. So the word "and" is just fish, and so it's like fish and chips. But people would from India normally say like fish and chips, and that's what makes it the music go really strange, because there is no, in English they're called like weak forms and like stressed words, but in many languages everything is stressed, and that sounds very strange. So yes, it is very difficult. I would say again, it all comes down to knowing the sounds of English. But as I said, sometimes if someone has just got a really thick accent, that's not your fault that you can't understand them. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. This is quite stressful, all these questions. But okay, let's go. So okay, I'm getting a bit confused here. So tier 156, I'm not sure what that means. Is that a coded question? So Eduardo, do you raise your children bilingual? Does your wife talk to them in Italian and you in English? How do you manage that? Answer to that question: yes, we raise them bilingual. I'm sitting at the table now where we eat dinner, and a few hours ago we were sitting in this exact table with our children, and my wife simply talks to them in English, and then my wife talks to them in Italian, and I talk to them in English. I know it probably sounds strange and stuff, but for us, it's obviously totally normal. And obviously, my daughter is the only one that talks. My son is only 9 months old, but she's amazing. And my wife will ask her a question. She will respond to her in English, and then she will move her head towards me and simply speak in English. Incredible, hey? I would love to be able to do that, but never mind. So, Flash, I would like to ask another question. I'm from Chile. Wow. Few people speak English here. What can I do to practice my speaking? I get really nervous when I practice online with people that I don't know. For example, hello talk. Okay, so I would say the reason you get very nervous is because you don't feel confident enough. If you feel confident to do something, then there was absolutely no reason for you to feel nervous. So to get more confident, again, it all comes to learning through listening. Once you can do that, and once you can hear, because as I always say, this is not just a marketing gimmick. When you are a fluent listener, you can become a fluent speaker. And once you are a fluent listener, you will find that you'll just be so much more confident to speak in front of other people. I felt like this, for example, with Italian. I was always really embarrassed to talk in Italian in front of specific, like, different people. But then I just realized it was just because I wasn't confident enough in Italian. Once I then got to a higher level, then I didn't care anymore. So that is what I would say. So really first work on becoming a fluent listener, then you will feel more confident, and then it'll be much easier to talk to people. And I actually, because for my jungle listening course, there are lots of things that you listen to and then you have to repeat. So you listen to me talk and then you repeat them and make a recording. And I did this a lot. I got my wife to do these things for me in Italian. I got her to record specific phrases with words I hated pronouncing. And by doing that and listening to that, I then was saying these words and I felt so much more confident. So it all comes down to confidence. So I'm going to put your name in there again, Flash. So Andrew, I know it's difficult with kids, but do you plan to travel next year? The problem we have is traveling. My obviously Mrs. R&R's family live in Sicily, so it's like I'd feel bad just going to like Spain for 2 weeks because we don't see her family that much. So if we've taken 2 weeks holiday, we'll go and see them in Sicily. So I can guarantee, we haven't booked it yet, but I can guarantee I will go to Sicily next year. I'm going there at Christmas, so I actually will be there in the first days of January anyway. So let's have a look at any other ones I can from before. So this is from Hadis. Is derive and derive, or are derived, I don't know. Derive and drive pronounced the same? So the first word is derive. So that has a schwa sound in it. So the schwa is the most important sound in English, and it's this. I call it the idiot sound because you need everything relaxed. If there's any movement, it's not correct. So if I do this, it's not correct. And if there is movement, it's different. Watch this. And it's always very, very soft and quiet. So the first one is derive. So it's got 2 syllables. So it's derive. Well, the second one is 1 syllable, which is drive. So the dry, so the I sound is the same in both. They are, the only difference is that schwa sound. Interesting fact, schwa, apparently the word comes from Hebrew. I don't know if there are any Hebrew speakers here, and apparently it means nothing because that's what it is. It's soft, it's nothing. So Natalia, why do you think your courses are better than other online courses? So obviously there are many on the market, and this is why it took me so long to make one, because I didn't want to make another just like grammar and vocabulary course. Now, I'm not saying grammar and vocabulary courses are not useful. I would never say that. When I worked at an English school, I taught many of those courses and I saw people make progress, so they are. But I wanted to make something different. And that's why with my jungle listening course, especially, I truly believe it because it's sound training. This is like what I keep saying, and it's the truth, that if you do a grammar and vocabulary course, especially if you're understanding me talk right now, that means you have a decent level of English. So if you do a grammar and vocabulary course at this level, you will be learning grammar and vocabulary, which is not used very much. Okay. Then you go out into the normal world and no one really uses it very much. So you're unlikely to hear it that often. And then you just simply forget it. With jungle listening, it's sound training. So it will completely change the way that you hear the language. So the effects are permanent because it will change the way you hear the language. It's like maybe like having glasses, like, and you can't really see, and then everything is so clear. That's what the jungle listening course does. I'm not sure if there's, I think there are a few people here that maybe have done some of the course. I'm not sure anyone that's completed the course, but so that's the jungle listening course. My vocabulary course, again, I wanted to do something different, and the whole thing is that there is no study. So it's called spaced out repetition. So I'm constantly repeating the vocabulary throughout the 52 weeks as well. 52. It's not just a 2-week course. It's 52 weeks of vocabulary constantly being recycled. So your brain just, oh yeah, that word. Oh yeah, there it is again. Oh, there it is in another context, so that you naturally remember it. So that's why I believe my courses are better than other ones, because I've tried to take a different approach. Oh, there are quite a few comments now. Let's go back to some of these. We've got 23 people. I thought it would have gone down by now, but it's actually going up. Where was I before? Okay. So third one, about jungle listening course. Is it possible to record a sentence from a film and send it to you so we can have other pieces of difficult sounds to tame? Absolutely. Especially there is the jungle community. You can put it in there, and then in the jungle lives, we can absolutely 100% do that. I did something recently with the Rock and Roll English family where we took a really difficult piece of language from a Scottish person. It was on social media a lot, this clip, and we broke it down and analyzed it. So just notice your head photo is from Jojo's Bizarre Adventure Lover here. I don't even know what you're talking about there, but is that something from something childlike you can see probably around here? I've got lots of children's stuff. I mean, you can build some of stuff with this. There's children's stuff everywhere in this house, so I'd imagine that's what you are talking about. So Panna, is there some particular type of students who learn with your method? Do you see any similarity or predispositions among them? Your method is quite unique, and I can imagine it matches with a certain type of student. Not really, to be honest. I have people all different ages, all different languages, different walks of life, we say. So no, I would say it's everyone from everywhere and all different ages. I mean, it's especially my jungle listening course, in fact, and my vocabulary course are very much aimed at British English. So it's obviously really helpful for people living in the UK, or people that just like British English. So yeah. So Tiburon, I was going to put your name on the list. Tiburon. How would be the best way to identify? Sorry, this is just me that I can't read. Nothing wrong with your English. How would be the best way to learn the daily English? I feel confident with business English, but not with colloquial English. Thanks, buddy. Rodolfo. Rodolfo. Okay, my friend Rodolfo. So again, it's all comes down to listening. So the more that you hear that, the more that you will just naturally repeat it, because it's just that I would like to share my screen, but I haven't got it. It's very simple. What goes in comes out. So depending on what you put in, that's what's going to come out. So if you spend lots of time in a business environment, that's all going in there. That's what's going to come out. But if you really surround yourself with just day-to-day language, then that's what's going to come out. So, in fact, to be a fluent listener, you need two main things. One is to understand the mechanics of speech, how it works, to be able to break it down. That's what I do in my jungle listening course. And the second thing is you need lots of input to something you enjoy. That's the important thing, because otherwise you stop listening. For example, I tried to listen to an audio book the other day, a book about self-discipline. I put it on for 2 minutes and I just thought, fuck this. I can't be bothered to listen to this. So you need to listen to something you enjoy. And that's why in my Black Friday bundle, I also give away 500 episodes of the Rock and Roll English family episodes. So if you like Rock and Roll English, you can just go to number 1 and bang, 500. So yes, daily English things you enjoy. Yay, so I've never been the same since I watched JoJo's. I honestly don't know what we're talking about here. So Adalgisa, I believe is the correct pronunciation. Hi everyone. Hi. So Andres, sorry, I apologize for my pronunciation. What was the real reason for moving back to England? We just thought, number one, we thought we would try it because you just don't know, do you? And number two, my wife especially, she might kill me for saying this, wanted to raise our children here in the UK. So there you go. So a new person, and so for anyone that's just tuned in, remember, ask a question and you can be in the possibility of winning a prize. Hi Martin, I'm sorry I missed the first bit of the broadcast. Could you say again how you are going to select a winner? Well, that's one way of entering, isn't it? So I have a list here and everyone that's asked the question is on there. You can see the number to the side maybe, and I am going to use this random number generator, which I have open. I'm going to choose a random number, and then whoever's name that corresponds to is the winner. So there we go. So Ola, answering with one word, how would you call someone who last Saturday brought home a third dog? You can be honest, it's my husband. He won't be offended. The first word that just came to mind was mental. For me, obviously, I was well known. I'm not a big dog lover. A third dog, my God. Now, someone that loves dogs might say amazing, but the first word that popped into my head was mental. Okay, so apologies to your husband for that word popping into my mind, but unfortunately, that's the one that did. Okay, so 2 questions here. I'll answer the second one first. This is from Anata. That I can't remember where this was from, but anyway, if you could play in a movie, who would you like to play? Now, I don't watch many films, but my daughter is obsessed with Rapunzel at the moment, and there's a specific character in Rapunzel who is a horse, who is name is Maximus Max, and my daughter calls me Horsey Max at the moment, more than she calls me Daddy. She'll call me Horsey Max, which is a bit strange, but anyway, especially when we're in public and she starts shouting towards me, Horsey Max, and then I go and yeah, it's strange. So I would like to be Horsey Max. And my daughter would love it. She would absolutely love it. And what is the best book you've ever read? I got this one prepared. I know it's a bit boring because I couldn't really think of the best sort of fiction book. I always say is The Portrait of Dorian Gray, Oscar Wilde. That was also one of probably the first book I read as an adult, and I really enjoyed it. So that one. But as for just books of my life, I would say this, which is a syllabus for listening decoding, which was the inspiration behind my jungle listening course and has changed everything for me, the way I see language learning and everything. And it's like lots of my ideas I thought that I had in the past, I could never really put together. And I just feel this book just showed me the light of how we really learn languages and how I can really help students, because that's also why I never created an online course before, because I thought I really want to make a difference. I'm not sure if I can. I don't know how to, but once I read that, I thought, right, okay, now I know. If I show people the mechanics of speech and how it works, this will make a real difference. So that's what I did. So bum, bada, bum, bada, bum. Let's have a look at some of these. Where was I? Okay. Eduardo, is there in Italy something similar to the wise men? I'm from Spain. Or what's the tradition over there? Yeah, I believe so. The three wise men. I can't remember what it is in Italian, actually. I'm not so informed of Christmas vocabulary, actually. But yeah, no, I'm 100% sure there is. So, Almaz, you're on the list. Are you going to have a conversation with other English teachers on a podcast in the future, such as Luke and Charlie Baxter? Again, I did one with Charlie not that long ago. Luke, probably, I would imagine, in the new year. I also recorded a podcast with Lindsay from All Ears English recently, and Keith from IELTS Speaking. So, yeah, I've definitely. So, I don't feel. I still don't really know what we're talking about here. So, Lorenzo, hello, Lorenzo. Nice to see you. Okay, so Adalgisa, this course is absolutely amazing. I started last week. So yes, someone that started the jungle listening course and the vocabulary course. So yes, I'm glad you're enjoying it, because like I said, it's different. That's what makes it different. I wish I could think of a different word, to the standard grammar and vocabulary courses, because again, it will have a lasting impact. Okay, so Eduardo, magic glasses to learn English. That's wonderful. Yeah, can't remember what that's about. So, Andrew, I did Jungle, enjoyed it very much. Now we'll be busy with vocabulary and masterclass all year round. So there we are. Some students happy with the Jungle listening course. So I've started Jungle listening and vocabulary together. I'm really excited about it. I love the way Martin teaches. Thank you. So that is in relation to what I was saying earlier about someone who mentioned it's strange to see me teaching pronunciation after talking about poo on the podcast. That's what I said, that I like to think I bring some of this teaching stuff, humor, into the lessons. So Rodolfo equals white shark. Oh, really? Wow. White shark. Okay, Tiburon Blanco. Right, white shark. And there's the picture of the white shark. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so this from is that Michaela? That's the name I'm familiar with, but it looks like it's spelled different. Sorry. I've recently come across many saying stop saying raining cats and dogs. Is it really so popular idiom in yeah, people do use that one a lot, English learners, but yeah, it's not that common, I must admit. But it's also not that bad. It's not I can't say like stop saying it. Some people say it, but yes, it's not that common though. It's generally a thing that older people would say. Like maybe my grandmother might use that. Not sure. Okay, so do I. He's a great teacher. Thank you very much. Okay, so how do you think how much of casual English speech covers your jungle listening course? I mean, that's what it is, really. That it's casual English speech. That's the whole point. Because so my vocabulary as a native speaker is terrible, absolutely terrible. Even a minute ago, I was looking for a different word. Instead of different, I use different again. My vocabulary is terrible, but I have no problems communicating with people, because the most common 1,000 words are used in 89% of daily communication. So if you know those most common 1,000 words, which is not a lot at all, and you can use them well, like I do, then you've got no problems. Now, the problem people have is recognizing those words. It's not, people keep thinking that, oh, I need more vocabulary to become a fluent speaker. You just need to know those words better, or to put them together in a grammatical way and to recognize them. This is the most common thing. So people say, I can't understand a film without subtitles, but I put subtitles on, I understand. That means you can't recognize those words, because if you can understand with them, you see them and you understand. It's just a case of you can't recognize them when listening. That's all it is. So just knowing those words better, and it all comes down again to the mechanics of speech. Okay, so there's obviously a different conversation going on here. We're going to get banned. Don't worry, you won't get banned. So which language is stronger, like with your daughter at the moment, English or Italian? Keep rocking on bilingual family. It's so much fun and a real bonus. I would say they're very, very similar. I would say before we went to Italy in the summer, we went to Italy for like 5 weeks. Her English was definitely stronger, but then when we came back, I would say her Italian was stronger. And now I would say it's very similar. Maybe one or the other. Maybe a little bit Italian is better, or maybe a little bit English, but she is very, very good. And I'm very jealous of her. So Erdil, you are on the list officially. Hi, Martin. Thanks for the great podcast. You're welcome. Did all your guests have already nicknames, or are they only for the podcast? Good question. Some of them had some already. No, generally they're all ones that have been used. So, for example, Boom Boom had that before. I mean, I would normally call him Russ, to be honest, but I sometimes called him Boom Boom, but I use that for the pod. Hellraiser, that he had that before. Mental Marky Mark definitely had that before. So yeah, generally everyone has had these names before, but obviously things like Substitute Sabrina, Clarification Charlie, and Champagne Char, those ones were just made for the podcast. So yeah. So okay, yeah, we've got this name on the list. Yep. Do you think you could do a podcast involving cricket, maybe with Boom Boom? I know that's not your cup of tea. Just for all the South Asian listeners, what do you think? You can learn something. I mean, how? Maybe. I mean, Boom Boom likes cricket. I don't know how much of a fan he is, so I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure how many people would tune in for that either. So Lorenzo, hi Martin, hi Lorenzo. So if I jump back to the other questions, which I haven't been able to finish. So this one is from Agaliza, who is also here, I believe, now. So I want to know about your teaching philosophy. I imagine that had the Y on the end. Teaching through sounds, because remember, in speech, words don't exist, sounds do. Once you can understand them, because as I said before, you take the sounds from your language and you move them into English, which obviously is not a good thing to do, but if we haven't been taught the movements to make the sounds, that is obviously what we're going to do. Once you study that and the music of how it works, connected speech, everything will change. So that is my teaching philosophy in a nutshell, I would say. Let's have a look. Okay, so this is from Mabel, who is also here. Would you consider doing one-to-one sessions with listeners and have an in-depth chat about the topic? Now, I would love to do one-on-one sessions with everyone, but unfortunately, I have very limited time during the day, and I need to try to make money to support my family. So it would be quite difficult for me to do that. Although in the Jungle Listening course, there is a one-to-one option as well, where I work with people one-to-one. They send me videos on WhatsApp, and then I say things like, no, lift your tongue just a little bit. Now open your mouth a bit more, so that they can make the sounds correctly. So this one is from Noni. So what language is most studied as second language in the UK? I would say French to that question. And this one was from Instagram, I believe. How can I improve my speaking if I have no one to talk to? I'm going to say it again, but it all comes first, become a fluent listener, then a fluent speaker. Once you are a fluent listener, obviously you need to find someone to speak to, and then that comes down to motivation. There are many places where you can do this for free, many chat rooms, things like that. It all just comes down to motivation. How much do you want it? Okay, because in English we say where there is a will, like desire, there is a way. So if you have the desire, you will find a way. And just to change things, because again, something else that I always say, if you do the same things, you'll get the same results. So you need to start doing something else, like using a different website, for example. And this one, have you found a pronunciation coach for your Italian, Gabby? No, and I would like to do that a lot. I would love to really go through and do everything that I do in this jungle listening course for my Italian. It is a bit different because the words don't change as much in Italian as they do in English. So that makes Italian a lot easier to listen to because it's as well very connected to the way things are written. Whilst in English, obviously, that's not. And the written language causes lots of confusion. This happens because because languages evolve and the writing doesn't evolve with it. That's how this happens. And English writing has stayed in the past, but obviously it's evolving. That's why you see like other spellings now of like things like wanna and gotta. These are becoming a bit more common these days because this is language evolving and even writing evolving with it. So a few more comments. We are going to come to the end soon, by the way, just in case anyone's getting bored. Still 21 though, that's quite a lot. I need to check the football as well. Manchester United are winning. That's great. Oh, and they missed a penalty. Oh. Okay, I'm going to switch on the football after this. Bum, bada, bum, bada, bum. So Andrew, and you just Martin for your friends. I'm not sure what that is in relation to now. So sorry about that. And you just Martin for your friend. Oh right, nickname probably. Yeah, I can't think. Lots of people call me by my surname, Johnston. Corporal Comer will often call me Melv or Melvin, which is in relation to someone calling me Melvin instead of Martin once. MJ, I get quite a lot from some people. So yeah, I haven't really got one that sticks as much though, I suppose. So Eduardo, how good is your wife's English? Which language do you use between the two of you? Yeah, her English is good. Which language do you use between the two of you? We speak in Italian because once you start a language with someone, it's very difficult to change that language because you feel like you're talking to another person. It's really weird. So the weird thing is I feel strange talking to her in English, which is my native language. So yeah. So so this is I'm going to write Jenny. So every day you look more and more like Jesus. I mean, it is Christmas, so it's a good time to look like Jesus, isn't it? So Lowell, that was my question. Dr. Crabbit. Oh right, okay. Okay, Flash. Okay, you're here. So okay. So Delilah has I know this person. So okay. So so I bought the Jungle Master, but I am busy these days, not able to start the course. Do they have a time limitation? So the Jungle listening actually has 6 months. I just say that though for like a motivation thing to help you finish before it expires. But if you have any difficulties finishing in 6 months, then just let me know. It's no problem. And the vocabulary course, absolutely not. So don't worry. So Flash, sorry for asking the same thing twice. No problem. I think mental marky Mark calls you Mart. Yeah, I would say, sorry, I completely forgot that one. That's the most common. And if you notice, everyone says Mart because they have that glottal stop at the end. So they don't say Mart, they say Mart. All right, Mart. And speaking of this, actually, speaking of sounds and things, when I went to Italy, I knew nothing about other languages, and I was just your typical ignorant British person. Okay, ignorant in the sense not. I like to think I was a good person, but I just didn't know much about the outside world. And when people said, "What's your name?" I used to say Martin because that's how I respond to people here from where I'm from. I say Martin. If I say Martin, they'll think, why is he pronouncing his T? What the hell is wrong with him? If I'm in a job interview, probably I'll say Martin, but normally I say Martin. And when I went to Italy and people said, what's your name? And I said, Martin, they were like, what? Like, what the hell is that? Because I was using sounds which were not familiar to them, to their language. So now when they say, what's your name? I say, Martin. They say, oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Because I use Italian sounds to say that. So this is another example. When you don't know the sounds of a language, it's not only difficult to actually use them, it's actually difficult to recognize them. Okay, so we have come to the end. So I've got 34 people on my list. Okay, so I am going to do my random number generator. Okay, generate. So, and that is number 23. And number 23 is Flash. Flash is the winner, who is here now, I believe. So just commented, Flash. Are you here? So I will contact you anyway. Send me a message, a private message, Flash, and I will give you free access to my Black Friday offer, which, remember, is my jungle listening course, the No Study British English Vocabulary Masterclass. Quite a mouthful, that one, isn't it? And 500 Rock and Roll English family episodes. So you have just won that. So congratulations to you. And for anyone else that wants to buy it, it is only open for 24 more hours. Okay. And it is honestly a really good deal. I don't know if I'm going to do this offer again because it's a lot I'm giving away. And just to give everyone, I've just literally decided this now, a little kick up the backside. I was going to do this only for 50 people. I've just gone over that now. So I'm going to keep it open, as I said, until midnight tomorrow. And anyone that goes and gets it today, I'm going to give you an extra 10% off. So I'm going to make a coupon code right now. Okay. I might even be able to do this. I was going to say indirect, but that's Italian, isn't it? So I'm going to make, for coming to this thing, this live, I am going to create a coupon code for you. Okay, I can do this right now. Okay, so I'm going to write Facebook Live 10%. Okay, so you get an extra 10% off for attending today. Okay, so where it says, okay, I'm going to put this, it expires tonight, by the way. Okay, there you go. So if you now go to buy the Jungle Listening bundle, which, remember, you get those 3 courses, then you will get an extra 10% off, because I want to give you a kick up the backside to say, do it. People need a reason to take action, and this is me giving you a reason. Okay, so some comments here. Congratulations. Yes, Flash, you have won. Wow, 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 wow. Yes, Spanner, congrats. So envious. Congrats. Yes. Okay. It's not an enemy stand, I swear. You should come on live more often. Cheers. I do go live very often in the Rock and Roll English family, another wonderful thing that I offer. So yes, if you go on, I'm going to put the link in there as well in case anyone wants to get this Black Friday offer. See if I can I comment on my own live? That is quite embarrassing to do that, I suppose, isn't it? But can I do that? I can. So I'm going to comment. So I've just put the link there. And so remember, the coupon is Facebook Live. Yes, Facebook Live. So I'm going to write that. Write Facebook Live to get 10% off. Okay, there we go. And remember, the 10% is only valid until for the next 3 hours, because I put the expiry date. at midnight tonight, and then you have 24 hours to get the offer if you would like to do that. So there we go. Thank you all so much for listening. I've only got 12 people left now. People have very quickly left. That's totally understandable. So thanks everyone for listening. So your podcasts are great. Thanks. Thank you very much. I will see you all very soon. Thank you again so much for listening and your support. It really obviously helps not just me, my family, and we all really appreciate your support. So thank you very much. And so some thank yous. Thank you, Vinny. Thank you, Mart. I like it. Yeah, you can call me Mart. I like it. That's what everyone calls me as well. My family as well. Heart, love it. Heart, keep on the good work. Thank you. Thank you. I love your lives. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Martin. Thanks, White Shark. Thanks, Barbara, for coming. Thanks, Ola. See you on Saturday at the Chit Chat. Absolutely. See you, Marcella. Good night. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.